Good afternoon, guys. Today I'm going to read the subtitles of a practice English with Wednesday Adams, shadowing sounds and intonation. So I'm going to start right now. Just going to start the video. Okay. Have you ever wondered what is the most effective way to practice your intonation, reading, stress, and pronunciation? The answer is shadowing, but not just any type of shadowing, but intentional shadowing. And today I'm going to teach you how to practice intentional shadowing, and we're gonna do it. We're shadowing Wednesday from the hit Netflix Shadow Wednesday. I already apologized. It's over. Over? But before we begin with some shadowing today, first let me introduce myself. If you are new to my channel, my name is Haden, a native speaker, and I'm here to help you to speak English with clarity and confidence. And I have created multiple reasons for your practice and learn English effectively. It's totally free and you can find it on my website. And you can also follow me here on YouTube. Just hit subscribe and other social media platforms where I share valuable daily content. Okay, so let's begin. What is shadowing? Shadowing is a practice method where you repeat the person that you're hearing. You can also call it an imitation exercise or echoing exercise because you are the echo of that person. Get it? The echo. So you're just repeating what you hear. And it's really so helpful, especially when it comes to improving your pronunciation and improving prosody. Prosody is the intonation rhymes, stress is low to speak. It is together. And sometimes learning the theory is not enough. Then we need to put it into practice. And by shadowing, not only that you're practicing these elements, you also start developing a strong intuition for English. You start recognizing and feeling what's right and what's not right. And you start changing your internal rhythm because the rhythm of your first language is probably not the same as the rhythm of English. And imitation is such a great tool to start mastering that. But here's the checking part. It is what usually seems difficult when you practice shadowing. It's really easy to fall into the pitfall of just repeating it automatically, repeating what you hear automatically, and not setting an intention as to what you're trying to improve or gain out of this exercise. And when you try to do everything, you end up focusing on nothing and therefore learning nothing. But if you really want to change, if you really want to get quick results, you have to be intentional. So you have to focus on the thing that you would like to improve. And today I'm going to show you how to do that exactly. I'm going to do it while focusing on two different things. Let's say you want to practice shadowing to improve your RS. You know how to pronounce the R, you have practiced it yet, you feel it's hard, you used to. So today I'm going to show you how shadowing is going to help you with that. And then we're also going to practice and focus on the intention is going to be intonation and most specifically operate words, the words that we stress to get our message across. Now, by the way, to help you with this exercise, I prepared for you an script you can download, whether it's about the air or about intonation. So feel free to download it. Just click the link below and get it. Now the first step is a good shadowing exercise is to find a scene or speech or a monologue that you like and then the script. It's really easy when you have the script in front of you. Now I have already taken care of that. I selected the scene for you and as I told you, you can download. The second thing is to monitor the speed. You can listen to it at regular speed, but you can also slow it down to 75% or 50% of the speed. There is nothing wrong with practicing shadowing with a slower speed. Why? because the focus is on intention and focusing on specific things and not just natural speech. Anyway, you won't be imitating people in real life, right? So, for the sake of the practice, it's okay if you slow down the speakers by a bit or even by a lot, and you can also speed it up. So, I have a 1 minute sent from Wednesday, and what I'm going to do is split the first half, focusing on improving that R. And the second part is going to be focusing on intonation and stress words. So here's how I will do it if I want to focus on the R. If you have the script, I recommend you that you mark all the words with R in them or just the R. You can just mark the R. It's really helpful and it's easy for you to focus on the on what matters. Need to read it and you need to go back are that you have practiced. Because what happens when we just repeat other people or just read the text through, it's very easy for us to go back to our native R or how we used to pronounce a certain sound rather than the new sound. So you're very likely to think that you're practicing incorrectly, but in fact you're going back to the old habits and then you're not changing anything. So take that text, mark the sounds that you want to work on. In our case, it's going to be the R, and let's play the video. I already apologize. It's over. Over to not. Okay. To get what you putting them in a danger. We could die because of the stupid obsession, but we didn't, and now I'm going to step closer. That is what is important. I have tried really, really hard to be your friend. Okay, first sentence. First, I'm going to repeat it. I already apologize. I already apologize. Now I want to do it again, thinking about the R sounds we have in the word already. By the way, she pronounced it with the L already, but now that you can drop the L, it's also okay already, if that's easier for you. You tend to confuse the L with the R already. But as you say the word already, make sure that you bring the tongue up, make sure it doesn't touch anything, and then the sound. There, 3D things bring the tongue. Tip doesn't touch anything. Focus on bringing the sound and run your lips. Er. And by the way, if they are challenging for you, I have several videos to teach you. Okay, so back to the script. I already apologized. So I'm saying it with the intention of pronouncing the R correctly, running the lips, making sure the tips on the tongue doesn't touch anything. Already. It's over. It's over. Okay, so now there is an R at the end. Sometimes for some people it might be tricky. Let's make sure that you are getting to the R over. Now yes, there are a lot of things. There is the O as in go, but I'm not gonna focus on that right now. But I really want you to only focus on the R. It's okay if all the rest is not perfect. The purpose is to focus on what matters. In this case, the R. Over, over, again, with a different intonation pattern. Over, make sure you are on your lips. Tonight was just the icing on your birthday. Okay, this is a little long, so we will do it slowly. Tonight was just the icing on the birthday cake you couldn't even be bothered to cook. So we have birthday, that's a tricky one, birthday. Tonight was just the icing of the birthday cake, birthday cake. Let's do it again. Tonight was just the icing on the birthday cake you couldn't even be bothered to cook. So we have another R in the border in this. So you want to make sure you say that a few times. You put in the whole sentence. Bother to cut. Bother to cut. The R is a little longer here. Bother to cut. And get to the D at the end. Bother to cut. Tonight was just the icing on the birthday cake. You couldn't even be bothered to cook. You couldn't even be bothered to cook. And again, we're only focusing on the R. You'll use anyone to get what you want, even if it means putting them in danger. In danger. So we only have an R at the end, so we'll maybe not wanna waste this sentence by only thinking of the R and the rest. And maybe I would focus on that ring here. I bring my attention back to the R. Let's listen to it again. You will use anyone to get what you want, right? So we have the nice ring here. You will use anyone to get what you want, even if it means putting them in danger. Okay, bringing back my attention to the R, even if it means a nice ring putting them in danger. Okay, bring the tongue up, round your lips. We could we could die tonight because your stupid obsession. We could die tonight. So we heard your. We're going to say the whole sentence. We could die. We could have died. We could have died tonight because of your stupid obsession. Because of you. Because of you. So here we also have the R because of your. We make sure that we bring the tongue up. It's short. And then stupid obsession. Stupid obsession. Stupid obsession. But we didn't. And now I know I'm a step closer to solving this case. So we have closer, very much like over the R is at the end. You wanna make sure that you hit it. And now I'm one step closer, 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 closer. And if you feel like the R is not accurate, that is why it's important. That is why it is important. That's what is important. So here we have the R in important, import. Now as you're saying the sentence, you probably notice other things like the T in important. How do I do that? And maybe the T in that's what is. What is. So after you make sure that you get back to the air, right? Of course, focus on other things. That is what is. Okay, flap T, nice. That is what is. Now let's see how she pronounced the T. Important, important. She start with a sound in the M and then pour. We definitely wanna pay attention to the pour. And then there isn't really a T, there is a gloral T. Mm. And then she released the T. It's not a healthy when she pronounced it is just important. Important. There are several others ways. We will teach it in the next description. The last sentence for the part where we're going to practice. I have tried really, really, really hard to be your. It's really hard to be your friend. Okay, I've tried. Pay attention to that. Really, really, really hard. Now, she really emphasized those words, right? And as she does, you can even hear vibration when she pronounces it. Really, really, really. Mm. That happens when you push the air with the tip of the tongue. Ooh, really. Now, usually you don't hear it. You actually don't want the tongue to close to the upper. But it's interesting to hear that you're using this consonant to stress what you what she's trying to stress or our result of being. So back to the sentence. I've tried really, really, really hard. Round your lips for all these three words and then to be your friend. Another R. Here we have a closer friend to be your friend. Alright, so in the next part of the scene, I'm going to show you how I focus on intonation and in that more specifically straight words. I call them operative words, the words that drive the meaning. Those words are usually longer, rounder, and higher. I have to upload videos explaining the theory behind you a lot of difference. I'm going to think those videos below, but now I'm going to show how to do that with shadowing. So let's continue with the scene. Now shifting the focus. Always put myself out there. So I feel like out there is more stress. How do I know that? Those words are longer and she raised the pitch. Out there. Always put myself out there. Now you haven't if you have a tendency of stressing too many words on the same note, this is a really good exercise for you. You might be imitating and shadowing and still keeping your own parents rather than actually shadowing that you're hitting. The brain can play trick on you. So this helps you focus on paying attention to when she raises pitch and doing it yourself. Let's continue. Thought, thought of your feelings. Feelings. She reads the pitch on the feeling. The word is more stressed. How do we know? Whatever comes before that is totally reduced. Of year. Thought your feelings. So we have thought your feelings. Thought your feelings. Told people I know she gives. Told people I know she gives off serial killer vibes. So serial killer that is stressed. Told people that is stressed too. I know she gets off. I know she gives off. That's kind to reduce faster and reduce things inside. I know she gives off serial kills by stress. Now let's take a moment here as we're continuing this practice. Notice that when we're doing that, you're only focused on hearing those things, right? You're only focused on pitch and rhythm and reduction, and you're not thinking about the art, right? And this is just to show you how important it is to focus on specific things and to be intentional. Because if I were like, let's practice the art and let's practice intonation and let's practice everything I know about English, it would be really hard for me. So when I focus just on melody or just on rhythm or stress words, if I want to focus on both, it's okay that I don't focus on the other things. Let's continue. But she's really just shy. But she's really just shy. I never asked you to do that. I never asked you to do that. Asked you. I never asked you to do that. You didn't have to. That's what friends do. I didn't have to. Have to. That's friends do. Have you noticed those? There are the words that they stress. By the way, in this script, those words are going to be bigger, so it shows you the difference between the words that are stressed and the words that are less stressed. You can download it for free in the script. They don't have to be asked. They don't have to be asked. Have to be asked. They don't have to be asked. And don't is someone stressed. So I'm gonna say that again. Focus on the stress words. They don't have to be asked. And in fact, that you don't know that says everything. What do you think the stress words are in this sentence? I'm gonna let you figure out. And of course, the answer in the PDF that you can download. Alright, so to conclude, shadowing is a technique where you repeat a person speaking, ideally when you have the text in front of you. And to make the practice effective, and by being intentional, that means that you're focusing maybe three things as you're shadowing. So you only focus on that. And then you can also read the same text focusing on other things and then gradually start putting everything together. And by the way, you know how I learned that when I was in acting school, I had to work on my accent, I had to work on my acting, I had to work on my specific dialogue. And I noticed that if I just try to read through that text again and again, it will be really hard for me to actually get a grade. So every time I will read once, I will focus, then another time just that th as that used to be challenging for me. and another time I will repeat it, just focusing on intonation and rhythm, and then once more focusing on the intention and the objective and the character. Now the word that I have done prior will just start shadowing, adding more to my practice. So I have done that when I was working on text as an actress, and I actually think that a lot of this work is extremely valuable when practicing English, because at the end of the day, when learning pronunciation, what you really do is you assume in someone else characteristic of speech intonations, written and stress pronunciation, and you're making them your own. So this is why all the exercise that bring to you from experience as an actress, I believe, very, very value for the work that you do. Alright, that's it. If you enjoyed this episode, consider subscribing to my channel and sharing it with your friends and colleagues and students. And that's it. Have a beautiful, beautiful rest of the day. And I'll see you next week in the next video. Bye bye. That was hard. Okay, that's all for today. Have a good day.